It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for joining us. Our guest is Henry Waxman. Mr. Waxman is a member of the United States Congress. He is also the chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee. Sir, we thank you so much for joining us on Local Edition.
Pleased to be with you.
I want to talk to you about jobs, jobs, and jobs. Okay. Throughout the country, the unemployment rate is just below 10%, but in our home state of California, it's over 12%. What's your sense of what the Congress can do to stimulate jobs?
Yeah. Well, we're suffering in this country from a very deep recession. We haven't had anything like this since the Great Depression. And this was something that we inherited when President Obama took office. We were about to go over a cliff into another Great Depression. And President Bush came in and said, bail out the banks. And if you don't, we're going to be in big trouble. So the Congress voted to bail out the banks. But when President Obama took office, he said what all the economists were telling him, both on the political right and left, do a stimulus bill. You've got to get government funds in there to provide those jobs because the private sector wasn't doing the work.
Let's talk about that stimulus bill. Yeah. $787 billion. Not all of it's been spent, obviously. Right. Your friends on the Republican side opposed the stimulus bill. Yeah. Right now, we're about a year out since it was passed. How do you feel about the success of the stimulus bill?
Well, there's a consensus by economists and observers of the economy that the stimulus bill has done a lot to improve the economy. But it's hard to tell somebody who's unemployed it could have been worse, because for them it's already as bad as it could possibly be. We've got to get the economy moving. We've got to get, as you put it, jobs, jobs, jobs. And so in the Congress right now, we're going to be passing another jobs bill because we've got to provide the funds for very important, worthwhile projects like infrastructure in our country and get people to work right away.
But are you feeling as if your friends on the Republican side will support a jobs bill? They were not supportive of the stimulus package, and we know they've been very effective at unifying to vote no. Can you pass it without
Well, they're very disciplined, and so far they have voted no on everything. But what are we going to do? What is their alternative? If we don't start providing more jobs through the public funding in the private sector area, where are these jobs going to come from? The President suggested that the money that was used for the bank bailout that's now being returned go to the small community banks to help small businesses. That's where we need the effort to get more jobs.
What about the argument that maybe we should use funds that would be spent on stimulus or jobs creation to decrease the national debt, for example, decrease the federal deficit?
Well, we've got to reduce the national debt. The deficit is overwhelming. But we've got to get the economy going. You reduce the deficit by expanding and growing the economy. And if we start decreasing spending or raising taxes, quite frankly, that is going to make our economy in a worse position. So let's deal with in sequence. Move the economy forward, get people working. When people are working, they'll spend more money, it'll produce more jobs, and it'll produce more revenues to close the deficit.
Do you feel as if California is getting its fair share of stimulus dollars?
We're doing the best we can. We wrote in a lot of the provisions in that bill to give California a boost. Where there's higher unemployment than the rest of the country, we should get a higher share of, let's say, the money for health care that the state pays for with the federal government. We call it Medicaid or California Medi-Cal. There are more roads being built, more mass transit. A lot of projects are right here in California.
High-speed rail, $2.25 billion.
So California is getting a lot, but we need more for California and the rest of the country in order to get the economy moving.
Okay, Henry Waxman, we thank you for joining us. Our guest has been Henry Waxman. He is a member of the United States Congress, also chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee. My name is Brad Pomerance. You've been watching Local Edition. Back to HLN.
As your business searches for smart ways to save, don't forget about the one that's right in front of you. Switch to the Charter Business Bundle and you can save big without sacrificing a thing. Get reliable business telephone and high-speed internet with local support and great features. Power your business with great savings starting today. It's easy to pay less and get more. Call now and make a switch to the Charter Business Bundle.